Glad you could make it. I'm Jackie, and as you saw from the title, today I'll be talking about getting back to art. By the way, this also happens to be my first ever YouTube video, so I'm still learning as I go. I will be bringing more improved videos in the future though, so stay tuned for that. Now, I know it may have been a good couple weeks or months even since you last picked up that pencil. This was also my predicament before I started this piece you're seeing right now. For me, it had been about a month since the last time I had drawn anything, so it certainly wasn't easy to find the motivation to try and do something again. So, what did I do? I decided to try a different medium, digital art. Now, I'm no expert at drawing digitally. In fact, most, if not all, of the drawings I made before taking a break from art were done traditionally, with a good old sketchbook and pencil. I had done a couple digital pieces a while back, but I never really used this medium consistently. The last drawing I did digitally, also one of the few I actually finished, was my profile picture for this channel, which I did in September of last year, 2024. You see, I actually created this channel last year, but life got busy, so I wasn't able to start for real until now. Anyways, back to this drawing. Why did I choose to make my first post-break drawing digitally? Well, for one, I wanted to try redrawing a digital piece I made about 3 years ago, back in 2022. You'll see it on screen right here. But also, I was guided by a phrase I heard once. Not sure where, but it said something like, "You're gonna be rusty either way, so why not try something new?" This was said in the context of trying to make art after a long break. And it has stuck with me ever since because I find it really true. Let's look at it this way. When you take an art break, it's likely because you're struggling with creating art in your preferred medium. For me, this was traditional drawing. So when I hit that wall a month ago, I figured it'd be the perfect chance to put that phrase to the test. Quick note, by the way. I chose digital art as my test medium because I already had an old tablet I bought a few years ago sitting around. If you don't have one, that's not a problem at all. There's a ton of ways to make art. There's watercolors, regular paint, color pencils, crayons, markers. You've probably heard all about them. You can try any medium you like to get back to making art. It's your call. Alright, back to the being rusty phrase. I certainly was when making this drawing. I started this video when I already had a somewhat solid sketch, because at the beginning of the process, I wasn't just sketching like I'd always do in traditional, no. I had to get familiar with the whole digital process again. By the way, the program I'm using is Krita, which I recommend if you'd like a free drawing program with lots of tools. So, as I did my sketch, I got familiarized with the basic tools once again, and I continued on until I reached the point you saw at the start of this video. Once I had the sketch down, it was just a matter of trial and error for the rest of the process. This piece was pretty much a learning experience for me, so there was a lot of control Z involved. Like a lot. As you probably saw since the beginning of the video. But that's a-okay, you know, it's our first time drawing again after a minute, and we're also trying a new medium, so it doesn't matter if you mistake the eraser for the pencil a few times, it's all part of the process. I also took this chance to experiment, and since I was doing a redraw, I wanted to give my character a more dynamic pose. Was it a bit crazy to try this when I'm already using an unfamiliar drawing medium? Maybe. But hey, we're following that trying something new idea, so might as well go the extra mile with it. I will let you know though, I didn't use much reference for this other than glances of me doing the pose in the mirror, so if you see anything weird, please don't mind it. I just kinda went for it without thinking much about it. I had my fair share of anatomy practice I'd done from time to time during my art journey, so I kinda just slapped that into this piece and hope for the best. Now, her face was a little tricky because I don't really have a determined art style when it comes to face shapes, eyes, and mouths, other than tweaking them until they look good. I did want to go for a bit of a manga look here, you know, keeping the piece black and white. Totally not because I didn't want to deal with colors, nuh-uh. Anyways, I thought I had her face down, but it was reminding me a bit too much of a certain movie's art style. Nothing wrong with that, you know, it was looking kinda nice, but I wanted it to look more like my style. So I decided to take a break once I had her face at this point, went back to the old reliables, and drew her face traditionally. I also took this chance to look for some hair in the wind references from Pinterest cause hair, especially in movement, is not my forte. So I drew that, took a pic, sent it to my computer to download, and put it over my digital drawing. Traced over that, by the way, it's not cheating if you make the drawing yourself or if you're doing a study, and proceeded to tweak it around to get rid of that trace look. Just trust the process here, guys. It's gonna look good in the end, I promise. Then I added more details to her face, and this is when things started to come together. I moved on to her hair, flipping the canvas occasionally to fix any discrepancies, and adding more details here and there until I was happy with how it looked. Finally, I finished lining her body and her clothes. I really like thickening lines here and there to finish a drawing. I feel like it's a nice, simple way to level up your line art. I 100% recommend. Added some finishing touches, and there you have it! I was finally done with the piece. I was quite happy with the result because when comparing it to the old one, I could really see the improvements in things like composition, anatomy, and just the drawing skills in general, I feel like. Sure, I struggled plenty while making this piece, and the old one's not really finished, but I know I have way more experience drawing now than I did back then, so this is definitely a win for me. And with that, I declare this drawing session as concluded. If you made it this far, wow, thank you so much for sticking around and hearing me yap for over 5 minutes. I really hope you learned a thing or two from this video and hopefully found some motivation to pick up a pencil, paintbrush, crayon, or anything really to create something once again. I'll be using this YouTube channel to document my drawing journey as I continue to learn more about digital art and get back to drawing traditionally. I know there's a lot of you out there wanting to get back to drawing as well, so feel free to tag along so we can start this journey together. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for dropping by. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!